I want you to imagine your perfect office. Would it be at the highest level of the tallest skyscraper with a beautiful view? Or would it have like really cool artwork hanging on the walls? Or would it have an amazing library with a view of nature? What would be your perfect office? Well, if you ask me, mine would be the beach. And that's exactly where I work as a sea turtle biologist. So my view is the ocean view. My seat, my office chair is the sand, if I get the chance to sit. And my desk is my clipboard. And my clients are sea turtles. So more specifically, the mama sea turtles and the baby sea turtles of Guam. So every morning, I walk the beach to look for sea turtle tracks that look a lot like tire tracks, right? And usually, these tracks will lead to a nest. But our mama turtles can be both picky and very, very tricky. So I have to go into the nest and make sure that the eggs are there so that her eggs are protected and safe and snug. Sometimes I pull all-nighters at the office and I'll conduct a night survey. So I'll meet the mama turtle and I'll watch her deposit her eggs into her nest. And I'll see her cover up her nest with her flippers. And then I'll make sure she safely gets back to the sea. Her name is Bridget, by the way. And Bridget took a while to nest because look, we had the sunrise. So after about 60 days, the baby turtles, they'll use an egg tooth that's on their nose to get out of their eggshell. And then a hatching frenzy begins within the nest. Look at them, they're so cute. So one by one, they'll all come out of the sand. And usually that will take about 3 days for them to come out of the nest. And then they'll scurry all the way to the sea. And usually this is the time when a lot of predation can occur, so they have to really hurry up. And then once they get to the sea, you want to turn your head? Once they get to the sea, they'll eventually follow the currents, and then they'll get to their foraging grounds, and that could be in Japan, Philippines, Indonesia, Taiwan. Have you guys been there? The turtles have. But unfortunately, not all of them will survive. And in fact, only 1 in 1,000 will live to be an adult. So really, every adult sea turtle is truly a miracle. So why is this number so small? Well, they occur both on land for nesting and in the sea. So of course, they're going to get all of the threats that come with both environments. So look at this beach. It's flat. So this is the aftermath after Typhoon Mangkhut hit Guam. And I don't like to see a flat beach because usually that would mean that the eggs are washed out into the sea or water will come in and drown out all the eggs. So Typhoon Mangkhut washed out 6 of my nests. So if 100 baby turtles are in each nest, how many are gone? 600. And that's just from one typhoon. Yeah. Anyways, so I also got a problem with pigs. Usually they'll come in and then they'll eat all the eggs, and they'll only leave like 3 behind, but even those were eaten by ants. And ghost crabs, they'll try to grab the babies as they're making their way to the sea, or they'll just go directly into the mound and get them while they're incubating. So those were just the natural threats, just very few of the natural threats that they will encounter. So let's move on to the anthropogenic threats, right? The ones that humans cause. So this is a picture of Tumon Bay, right? We're here. And the first thing you notice is all the lights, right? Well, mama turtles, they dig the dark. So when they see this, they'll be hesitant to nest in this type of environment. And babies, once they crawl out of their nest, they'll travel towards the brightest light. So I don't want to see baby sea turtles checking in at Hyatt, right? I want to see them going to the ocean, because that's where they belong. But also boat strikes can be, very bad for them. So it's important that we practice safe boating. And also, our sea turtles, they're endangered, so they're protected by both federal and local laws. So it's illegal to hurt, harm, harass, or kill our sea turtles. So for example, here's a sea turtle that has a spear wound on the side of its shell. And her name is Bacutie, so she has on the side of her shell, and then also right near her eye. So she almost died. But she spent 10 months in underwater world, and she was deemed healthy to be released back into the ocean by Department of Agriculture biologists. So I was very lucky to be part of that. And also, global warming is a threat. Could you imagine? So the reason being is that it's determined whether a sea turtle is male or female based on the temperature of their nest while they're growing. So warmer nests will mean more girls, and cooler nests will mean more boys. So what would happen with global warming, right? So there's a recent study that stated that the feminization of the sea turtle population has already begun, and there are way more females than there are males. And then also the things we leave behind in the ocean, right? So we have drifting rope or nets that are left behind that can cause entanglement. And also plastic bags. Our sea turtles, they love jellyfish, and they'll often mistake plastic bags as their food. And a more famous example, how many of you guys have seen the viral video with the sea turtle that had a straw lodged in its nose, right? So scientists in Costa Rica, they found this male sea turtle that had a straw lodged in its nose. And they suspect that he ate the straw, but then he tried to regurgitate it back out. So instead of it coming out of his body, it just came out through his nose. And it just stuck there. So they're saying it's probably like at least a few weeks that it was there. And I actually had the chance to meet the scientist who shot this viral video at the latest Sea Turtle Symposium in South Carolina. But her shooting of this video and sharing it to the world, it started a movement, towards using reusable straws. But that's all the way in Costa Rica, right? So what's happening here in Guam? Is plastic having a negative effect on our sea turtles? I was invited by Department of Agriculture biologists to conduct a necropsy on a sea turtle that was found washed up in Talafofo Bay. So externally, if you look at her, right, it looks like nothing's wrong. There are no gashes, no entanglements. She looks pretty, like she ate pretty well. And I'm warning you that the next picture is pretty disturbing. But we opened her up, and we find that through her intestines, you see that the size of it starts to get different, right? So it becomes more enlarged towards the end, as if there's an obstruction. So we open that part up, and we find this black material inside. And then after washing that material, we find that it's all black plastic trash bag. So this baby, she's probably 5 to 10 years old, and she's carrying like this much black plastic trash bag right there. So this turtle, she was feeding in Guam's waters. This is Guam's waters. This is right in our backyard. It's not in Costa Rica. It's not in Florida. It's not in Australia. It's here in Guam. And I take this as a message from the ocean. So how many more messages from the ocean do we need in order to live a sustainable lifestyle? In fact, in another recent study, they sampled hundreds of turtles from around the world, and these were stranded turtles, and they looked through the gut content, and they found plastic. So they estimate that plastic is possibly in every sea turtle already. And in fact, sea turtles, they lived during the Cretaceous period with dinosaurs, and they lived millions and millions of years after the extinction of dinosaurs. So if they lived alongside the T-Rex, can they outlive the dinosaurs of today, which is plastic? What do you think? So if we fast forward in time, to the time of the ancient Chamorros, we see that sea turtles play an important role in the Chamorro culture. They were harvested sustainably for their consumption, and their bones were made into tools, and their shells were made into jewelry. So it would really be a shame if we lose such an iconic species to something as simple as plastic. So with the threats I mentioned before, in addition to all those, the harvesting of sea turtles and their eggs, disease, and loss of nesting habitat are all the other dinosaurs that our sea turtles have to combat today. But why can't we give them one less dinosaur to combat? And just by reducing our use of plastic. It would really be a shame if we lose them to something that we can, for sure control in our everyday lives. So I encourage you to pick up 3, use 3, and tell 3. So pick up 3. You have to move your head. So if you're at the beach, pick up 3 pieces of trash. So I usually would pick up a cigarette butt or plastic bag. Even when you're at a parking lot walking towards your building, just pick up little pieces of trash here and there, at least 3. And of course, use 3. So make the switch. Instead of plastic bag, use a reusable bag, and then instead of plastic fork and spoon, use bamboo cutlery. You get the drift, right? So invest in reusable products, and just like we don't leave our house without our phone, let's not leave our house without our reusable bag and our reusable water bottle, all of these things. And of course, more importantly, tell 3. Tell 3 people of what you've learned here today, of what you learned here at this conference, and be a steward for your island. It really is an honor to work with this species for the foraging population, and to helping in the release after a poaching event, and to meeting all the mama turtles, and just being for them when they're really trying to survive. When they're struggling. It really warms my heart to be there for them when they need my help the most. So I really hope that, you feel the same way. These are your turtles, so take care of them. They're really cool, and I hope you get the chance one day to hang out with them, because they're pretty cool. And I'm just very excited to see how far we'll go in sea turtle conservation. So remember, pick up 3, use 3, and tell 3, right? And on behalf of Guam's Hagen, Sidoas Masi.